So I guess that there was an email that was sent from the city. And one of the requests is my mother's journal. I'm sorry. What gives you the right to my deceased mother's journal? Number one, a journal is hearsay, right? And the other part of that is it's not admissible in court because the person is deceased. It wasn't her last letter to this world. It was her journal of every day how she was feeling. And I think it's funny that that's like one of the things that they're most concerned about. How my mother, who no longer has any feeling about anything in this world, is so important. But I can tell you where this is coming from. Because one day while I was in the hallway speaking with Frank Milos, now his office had called the police because I had walked in and was like, what, nobody answers the fucking phone around here? Because I had to go down. And the girl behind the desk, I don't know if she contacted Frank. I have no idea. We'll find out. They called the police for disorderly conduct. Disorderly conduct. What? I was sitting there when they arrived. I was just sitting. And they walked in all confused. They came in like gangbusters. And all I was doing was sitting there. My comment was, nobody answers the fucking phone around here? Because I had to go down because nobody answers the phone. But that aside, so they came in and, they're confused as to why they were there. And I was like, I'm just sitting here. I'm waiting for Frank Milos. Now, the police showed up, and then Frank Milos and, I don't know what his name is. I don't even know his name. Holt or something like that. I don't know what his name is. He's the chief of staff or whatever. He was with Frank. And Frank's like, don't be swearing at Jasmine. Don't be swearing at Jasmine. Now, Frank has previously swore on the phone to me. But I didn't swear at Jasmine. I asked a question. I didn't say, why the fuck aren't you answering the phone? I said, what? Nobody answers the fucking phone around here. So anyway, that afternoon, it was a little while later, Frank and I were bullshitting in the hallway. We were bullshitting in the hallway. And we're just talking, and he's telling me about his sisters and how they are, what school they went to, because I told him what school I went to. And he was like, oh my God, my sisters went there too. And, they were younger than you, gave me their names. Now, I don't remember their names. I think one of them, well, I don't even have to say it because they're irrelevant. They are irrelevant. I think that he mentioned one of the sisters' names. Maybe he mentioned both of their names to see if I recalled them. And I didn't. But it was as irrelevant in the area as well, because not one person that I've ever spoken to, and not checking on him, but hey, do you happen to know so-and-so? No, they don't know him. So, obviously he wasn't friends with the people from the neighborhood, but that's irrelevant anyway. It's irrelevant. Not sure, but anyway, so, we're both sitting in the hallway, and I had asked him, who is it that is giving out my son's medical information? And he said, they're my client. So I'm not going to tell you. So his immediate defense was, they're my client. Now, I don't know. Are we in a lawsuit for this? Or would it have been easier to fucking have a teachable fucking moment? Teachable fucking moment where it's handled. But no, he doubled down with telling me that he is law enforcement, because I had said, medical records from the state medical examiner's office are only supplied to law enforcement. Not for secondary release. It's all over the paperwork, not for secondary release. Confidential. But, at one point in a taped call, he actually let me know that he is law enforcement. He's law enforcement. If he was really fucking law enforcement, and I just put a few things up on Facebook, if he was law enforcement, when he discovered that the Pawtucket Police, James Bano and others were sending people to my home to do me harm, harass, threaten, bully, attack, or whatever the thing was, along with like Brian Beach. Brian Beach. Oh, fucking piece of shit. Anyway, so if he was law enforcement, wouldn't he have done something about this turtle boy? No. He didn't care. He knew immediately what was going on. Yeah. Now, I've posted recently, some things on Facebook. Kate Peter had requested so she sent an APRA to Manny Maciel. The only time in this guy's fucking 20-something year career in the Pawtucket Police Department, the only APRA he ever received was for my son's information sent to him at his personal email address, his Pawtucket Police personal email address, for my son's, everything that they had on my son, every call for service and every APRA that I ever sent. So Kate Peter sent that to Manny Maciel, and Kate Peter is on my Facebook with all the fuckery that they're involved in with felony this and felony that. And they're in court. They are in court more than the judges. They're in court constantly because they're, being arrested and felony this and felony that and witness intimidation and rolling rallies and standing outside people's houses with, these megahorns and all this bullshit, right? With their followers, and some of their followers, sick bastards. Now, because somebody, you can see the article, you can see, you can look it up yourself about the turtle. Anyway, the turtle being hung by its neck outside Aiden Kearney's parents' home. These are the sick fucking bastards that these people, Tina Gonzalez signed off on it, said, yeah, you want to bring them in? Come on down. Let's go to the substation. Let's invite them, so that they could come from me and somebody else. And she was well aware of everything that was going on. Frank Milos was well aware, but I'm getting back to the relevance of my mother's journal. Frank Milos has fucking known for fucking years that he upset my mother, that he very much upset my mother. He has known for years. Let's get him on the stand, fucking ass fucktard, what the fuck he did, right? My mother's journal, you want to know what my mother's words were? She was unsure of how come Frank Milos was so evil. And I told him, and let's get it up. Let's get Fucktard on the fucking stand. And he can tell you on numerous occasions that my mother died without an apology from that piece of shit. That piece of shit died without an apology. Without an apology for what he did to her. So let's go. Let's go. But while we were out in the hallway, and Frank Milo's, bullshitting, about his sisters and the neighborhood and, how he didn't know anybody in the neighborhood. I don't know how that happens, but, whatever. As a kid, we lived not too far from a park and, I don't know. But anyway, you never saw outside. You never rode a bike. Anyway, so with that, my husband is coming down. And now mind you, there are cops at the end of the hallway and they're asking Frank, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm a 58-year-old woman, never laid a hand on anybody in my life. In my life. They're asking him, are you okay? Are you okay? We're talking. We're talking about his sisters. We're talking. With that, my husband comes and he's standing there and he's, looking and he's like, you're really not going to tell her who is giving out our son's personal medical information? And he said, no, they're my client. So he knows of this going on. He knows that my son's medical records have left. He knows that John Trentonzo, for some reason, shoved it up his ass or something, my son's rescue report, because that story changed numerous times. In fact, John Trentonzo called me at 10 o'clock at night. 10 o'clock at night, saying that he had thought about me and he had been thinking about me since he got out of work for 5 fucking hours or more. And he misspoke. No, I asked that son of a bitch if he had just had any communication with Frank Milos, and he's like, no, he did. He did it because at 9:15, I had called Frank Milos at home and said, why is he telling me that the last time he saw my son's rescue report, he had handed it to you? And then there was communication. We're going to get the text messages. We're going to get everything. And John Trentonzo called me. And it was like 10 o'clock at night. It's all well documented. Where John Trentonzo's like, oh, I misspoke. I had your son's rescue report on my desk in an envelope. And I had someone shred it. That recollection has changed a couple of times with John Trenton. So he shredded it himself. Now, in later on, it was that he shredded it himself. I don't know. Shoved it up his ass. He didn't really say that. I'm thinking that he did, though. Because, all his bullshit with, I walked it over myself and gave it to Frank Milos. All of a sudden changed to, no, I didn't walk it over. I had someone shred it. And then he told Michael that he shredded it himself. He knows that it was shredded because he shredded it himself. Then we got the assistant chief that says we're not allowed to have anything to do with any medical records. We're not supposed to see anything from the rescues or anything. That's not in our wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. And that's why certain ones are trained. And we'll get into the Wesley Meyer thing. But I'm leading up to what Frank Milo said to my husband. He looked right at him and he said, I know how you feel about me because she's told me. What? That was something that you wanted to say or whatever. She's told me how you feel about me. I know how you feel about me. So I'm thinking that in some way, Frank Milos wants to fucking see what he did to my mother. He wants to see it. He wants to read my mother's writing. He is as creepy as fuck. And the reason that he's so fucking creepy, here's another part of this. Frank Milos, when it was brought to my attention that Frank fucking Milos had my son's medical records, and I was flipping the fuck out over the fact that he had it, he called my husband because I wasn't breathing. I was having chest pain over the fact that my son's last medical records were given out outside of the police department. So he called Michael and he's like, here's my cell phone number. Please call me. Let me know that Lynn's okay and everything. And then 2 fucking weeks later. Now, during the first conversation about it, he's telling me, I'll delete it. 2 fucking weeks later, the fucking creepy ass bastard fucking pulled it back up. Oh, I had to pull it back up. And it's just 2 weeks later. I had to pull it back up. I pulled it up yesterday. And, I was looking at it. Fucking creepy. He is so fucking creepy. And he don't want nobody knowing how fucking creepy he is. This is my First Amendment to tell what happened to me, to what happened in this situation. This is freedom of speech. This happened to me. This happened to my mother. This is my story. And ain't nobody gonna shut me the fuck up. Because, people don't want, certain people to know. You know what? My mouth doesn't stop. My mouth does not stop. So, he can try to, silence me in some way. It ain't happening because it fucking happened to me regarding my son. Fucking creepy ass bastard. And then when I'm at the office, you got Nicole Farias. We don't have your son's medical records. We don't have them. She's the fucking piece of fucking garbage that wrote the letter stating that they had them. She doesn't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Does she fucking do drugs or something? I want to know, how often are these fucking people checked for drugs? Because there ain't no fucking way that she wrote all that whole fucking letter about how they have my son's stuff. And now it's fucking gone from her fucking mind. Do we drug check these people? How do you forget something so fucking significant? Your name is on the fucking paperwork, you fucking piece of garbage. Fucking lying to me and shit. But anyway, yeah. Frank Milos wants to see what my mother had to say about him. Why? A lot of people don't fucking like you. A lot of fucking people know that you do nothing but fucking lie and cover up. You knew that Turtle Boy Sports was coming to my house. You didn't have to withhold that for 3 years. That email for 3 years, you piece of shit. And I'm not addressing Frank. I'm not addressing Frank in any way. When I say you, I mean Frank Milos. You. So I'm not addressing Frank Milos. I'm telling my fucking story about how fucking weird, how creepy, how disgusting, how fucking disgusting are you? Meaning anybody that's involved, anybody that has been involved. And I'll delete it. Fucking idiot. Fucking pulls it up 2 weeks later. Piece of shit. So, and just so you know, I've already double checked to see what I can and what I can't say and everything. This is my freedom of speech. This is my story. This is my story. My story. That piece of garbage. That piece of fucking garbage that fucking sat on the phone with me for 40-something minutes or whatever it was on and talking shit about Frank. Talking shit about Frank. Telling me private stuff about her daughter. Telling me private stuff about her grandmother. Her animals. All that. Now, is that something that they want? Is that something that they want? Because they're asking for everything. They want to know what my mother said in a journal. I'm going to let them know everything that Nicole Farias said. Nicole Farias had a lot to say. You know, hey, I guess that's what we're doing these days. I guess that's what we're doing. So, yeah. And I think that, Nicole should, let them know. If you would fucking lie on my deceased child, why would I not tell the truth on yours? Why would I not tell the truth of what Nicole Farias said about her daughter? Why wouldn't I? You want to fucking lie on my kid? You want to lie for the likes of Frank fucking Milos? Stop, you piece of garbage. You piece of garbage. That's what you are. But anyway, hey, it's all going to come out now. It's all going to come out because I got no reason to hold it back. I have no reason to hold any of it back. So line them all up. Let's do this. Let's get everybody to do their little testimony. Let's make sure we get Craig Letourneau. Let's make sure that we get Frank Milos, Lizette Gomes, Dan McKiernan. And and I said to him, that they don't have it, huh? He believes Frank and Nicole. How do you feel now? You feel like a fool? Do you feel like a fool that they left you to answer to me? I got you on tape. Do you feel like a fool now? Then in the afternoon, he tells Michael, after lying, saying, we don't have your son's medical records. I believe Nicole and I believe Frank Milos. You feel like an ass? Do you feel like a fucking ass? I hope you do, because we're going to be asking you, and we have the videos. We have the videos of you fucking lying to me. Fucking lying, because you believed them. You believe. I believe you're going to be questioned about your beliefs and how you fucking gaslit me with your whole fucking, because I believe. You believe that piece of trash that's sitting at that window and you believe Frank Milos. Creepy ass bastard. Really? You believed them. Do you feel like an ass now? Do you feel like an ass? Double down on it, huh? You double down on it. There are times that you get court orders and you have to review those kind of records. I'm looking for the fucking court order. Oh, all of a sudden, I don't think that we need one. Well, how many autopsies have you reviewed? 0. You know why? Because you need a fucking court order to obtain it. You piece of shit. Well, and obviously you don't know the law. You know what? It's funny because you're sharing in good company someone that doesn't know the fucking law. In the office with Frank Milos. So anyway, well, that's all I got to say this morning. I have some pretty significant medical issues to deal with this week, and I'm not going to let it bother me. I'm not going to let it bother me. But I do know that a journal of someone that's deceased. How about this, Frank? None of your fucking business. And you would love for it to be your business, because you love to be tucked up everybody's fucking ass. You know, you got to know everything. Yeah, the letters from the medical examiner's office that I wouldn't show you. Oh, I'll get a copy of those, because once you give them in, they're going to give them to me. They're going to give them to me. For what reason, Frank? You're going to get did you need them to get the police report fucking fixed? Well, how's that coming along for you, Frank? You needed those letters. Yeah, you needed to see them. Anything changed down there on that report, Frank? No, because they love it. They fucking love it. But you know what I love more? The fact that you people are still fucking giving that shit out. Katie Hilton, she's standing by her words that she submitted through the courts that my son was text messaging between this time and that time and all this bullshit. And you know what? Everybody looks bad, Frank. Everybody looks bad. Dan McKiernan looks bad. Katie Hilton looks bad. But you have no faith in Katie Hilton anyway. Remember, she's not seasoned like you. I think that the only seasoning that you have had is that you're totally up in the business that has nothing to do with you. But you have no problem with, your office, Jasmine and piece of garbage at the window. What's her name? Nicole Farias, Dan McKiernan, you have no problem with law enforcement releasing information outside of law enforcement. But you're law enforcement, right, Frank? You're law enforcement. If you were law enforcement, when you found out that Rafael Perez, 11 years ago, fucking lied to the state medical examiner's office, wouldn't you have done something about that, Frank? Law enforcement, you piece of shit. You've known all these years that Rafael Perez is nothing but a homophobic fucking piece of shit liar, but you stand by your law enforcement for your clients. Your law enforcement. You ain't no law enforcement. You're a dweeb. You're creepy. You have no fucking power. You have But we'll bring it. We'll bring it because you want it. We're bringing it. We're bringing it all, Frank. We're bringing it all. Don't you worry, honey.